What's going on, guys? This is Dave from PNP, and I'm here to talk to you about Underdog Fantasy. I just want to remind you that's the easiest place to play. There ain't too many places where you can win 20 times your money in the same night, utilizing higher lowers in the pick'em game. And now they have pick'em insurance, where while you won't win the same amount of money that you did before, you can miss one and still bring home some money. So if you do it 3 times, you could potentially still get your money back if you end up missing one. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com and sign up today and use the code PNP when you do. And the $100 deposit match still stands. Underdog Fantasy.
Panther Nation Podcast. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. Oh, cut it. Cut right. And I would like to introduce one of the hottest podcasts in Carolina history. Let's go. Yeah. Talk less chat. We got time to chop it up. Talking analytics and fantasy draft. You know what's up. Panther Nation representing. Cause this is where we talk that. Talk that's so incredible. Make them rewind that talk back. Pause. Talking Panthers football, we discussing it all. On and off the field, you know exactly who to call. You know we the #1 podcast. Competition is non-existent, you need to stop that. Pause. It's an honor to be a Panther fan. Pause. At Bank of America, that is where we ball. Coming to the jungle, then you gonna feel the pause. Winning the trophy for the city, it is the cause. Black, white, and blue, we going Carolina strong. And this is the conversation where everyone belongs. Discussing all the numbers and topics, you know we got it. We the hottest podcast and we poppin', let's go.
All right, what's going on, guys? This is week 6. We're going to be talking about these fantasy numbers. We're going to be talking about what's going on, and we'll talk about some bye week strategies. And we'll have a discussion point about whether or not you need to be panicking right now based on your record. This is like one of my favorite times once the bye weeks begin, because I think, in my opinion, from a fantasy standpoint, this is where I can prey on the weak drafts and the panics. There's 2 ways you can prey on it, because if you drafted really well, and if you've been watching the show, you probably did. So if you drafted really well, now the decision making of not having 2 quarterbacks on your roster, not having 2 tight ends on your roster, not having 2 defenses on your roster, and not having 2 kickers on your roster if you still play with kickers. Now this is where it comes to fruition. This is where the work comes in. Biggest reason why I prefer to only have 1 quarterback, 1 tight end, 1 kicker, 1 defense. The biggest reason why I was about that life was because I want to have the depth at running backs and wide receivers. And we talked about this a little bit last week as well. But I want to have that depth because when the bye weeks come, I want to be able to leverage and have advantages. Okay? The quarterback position, if you have a Patrick Mahomes, you're not going to be able to replace that level of production. If you have somebody that's more of a streamer near the bottom of the top 12, you probably can replace that production in the waiver wire for 1 week. So that's why I've always felt like when it comes to start debating on how to handle these bye weeks, that's where your drafting that's where you can leverage what the ability that you drafted. Let me know if there's any issues, because I know I'm seeing some freezing, but hopefully everything's working fine on your end. But so that's why I roll the way I roll when it comes to those certain things, when it comes to the drafting and things of that sort. Let's see here. I'll answer this question. Thoughts on Isaiah Pacheco this week versus Buffalo? Depends on game script. If the game script is anything like it was this week on Monday night against the Raiders with Kansas City, Pacheco ain't gonna get you much because you're gonna have to play CEH and McKinnon. It looks like McKinnon did enough damage to keep get his role back as the backup. So with that being said, I don't know how valuable it's going to be to have Pacheco and playing him. He's a waiver wire ad, but it's not somebody I want to play right now. There's better options even through the bye weeks. Speaking of the bye weeks, we got 4 teams on bye this week. There are 4 teams on bye this week. And if I know the Lions are on bye. Let's see. The Lions are on bye. The Texans are on bye. The Raiders are on bye. Yo, what happened? Oh, did I disappear? Hold up. What the hell? Oh, I didn't disappear. My thing's tripping. All right. Yeah, I don't know what the heck was that. I'll fix that. Give me 1 second, guys. I apologize. Okay. It's the Raiders, the Texans, the Lions, and the Titans are on bye. So those are the guys. So for the Raiders, I mean, there's some pretty good pieces that you're not going to have available, like Devontae Adams. If you were playing Derek Carr, you can replace that in the wire, and things of that sort. But for Pacheco this week, I don't know if I would mess around with him. I wouldn't put him in my roster. I mean, if he's a waiver wire ad, I mean, I'm cool with it, depending on what your options are. When you talk about the top waiver wire ad for this week, that's Kenneth Walker, Seattle Seahawks. He's the top waiver wire ad. With Rashad Penny being out for the season for Seattle, Kenneth Walker is going to get every opportunity to get all the work in Seattle. So that is the waiver wire pick that you want to roll with from that standpoint. Now, Thielen or Myers for the rest of the season. Thinking about picking him up, but no need. I prefer Myers here, actually. I think he's getting enough target share, and I'm very shocked that he's available in leagues. Myers has an outside shot to be in the top 25 in wide receivers this season. All right. So, yeah, give me Myers there over Thielen. Yeah, that suspension might hurt him now, doesn't it? So he might end up with 2 bye weeks because he's out here pushing folk. I think it's kind of crazy about Hunter Renfrow has cost, because that was Renfrow's fault at the end of that Monday night game last night. Hunter Renfrow is out here costing the Raiders games. What are your thoughts on Hollywood Brown? Hopkins comes back next week or the week after. Should I try to sell high? It depends on what kind of offers you got out there, man. I mean, I would consider it depending on what you get. But players like Hollywood Brown is the type of people that you might need to consider leveraging. DeAndre Hopkins won't be back until week 7, and he's still got to deal with the bye week because I believe the Cardinals bye week. Let me pull up the bye week schedule for y'all. 2022 bye week. FL. All right, here are the bye weeks. Give me a second and I'll pull this up. Put that off real quick. All right, here are the bye weeks. Because every week we're going to talk about bye weeks and leveraging advantages with regards to the bye weeks. So here are the bye weeks. Let's see if I can blow it up a little bit for you guys. All right, so week 6 begins the bye weeks. It goes to week 6 to week 14. So there's your bye weeks. So the big ones that you need, for most folks, the big ones they probably need to pay attention to. Week 6, you're not losing too much. The Raiders, that might be the biggest piece of the pie. I mean, Derrick Henry plays for the Titans, so you'll miss that. Raiders got Adams primarily, and Josh Jacobs have been balling, so that's going to be a good chance to replace. Damien Pierce, Brandon Cooks from the Texans. Swift has been hurt, so Jamal Williams has been utilizing him. Can't utilize him this week, and I have a feeling that Swift will be back after the bye. So that being said, I think it's time to look and see what you can do with Jamal Williams right now. See what type of value you can get for him. Week 7 is a big one. Heavy hitters: Bills, Rams, Vikings, Eagles. That's a big one. Week 8 is a big one because it's the Chiefs and the Chargers, but not as major. But week 9, there's 6 teams on bye in week 9, and in week 14, there's 6 teams on bye. So those are going to be the big ones. And in week 14, you should be thinking about playoffs. But to answer your question about Hollywood Brown, I would try to trade him if you can. Take advantage of it. Hopkins, we don't know what Hopkins is going to be when he comes back. We have no idea what he's going to be. He should be healthy. If you want to take a flyer and see what it looks like to get Hopkins, this would be the time to do it. It's too late to trade Renfrow, man. That ship has sailed. For K. Herbert, if you have Montgomery, you kind of got to keep Herbert, right? But otherwise, yeah, I would go with Mostert. I would take Mostert right now. I think Mostert is going to get the bulk of the carries in Miami. Do you really need a QB, Christian? Who's your quarterback, Christian? I'll tell you what. Let me decide whether or not you need a quarterback. Tell me who your starting quarterback is right now, and then tell me who your waiver wire options are, and I'll let you know whether or not you need a quarterback. I wouldn't be trading Aaron Jones. So that's that for the bye week. So with regards to that, just those are the type of things you monitor. Sometimes it's smart to try to think a week ahead. So if you, for example, if you know you have Josh Allen, this is probably the week you probably should go get a quarterback if you don't have one on your roster. So just keep that in mind. So we'll see. I mean, it's cute that your fantasy. Let's see. It's cute that your fantasy team is stacked, bro. But fantasy teams don't always win championships. This is coming from somebody that knows. There was one year in the league. I ran into this guy that was undefeated in the entire season. Ain't lost a game the entire season, and I beat him in the finals. Stacked teams don't win championships. Great managers do. All right. Pickens, wide receiver, Pittsburgh, or Everett Chargers this week. Cooks on bye. Pickens. Give me Pickens for this one. Even though he did have a rough week. But all right, so it's funny you mentioned Wentz. Let's do another share. I have another share for you guys. Let's look at some data, and we can have a conversation about Carson Wentz while we get to that, Christian. Scoring leaders. There we go. All right, week 5. Quarterback. What we doing with the quarterback? So if you guys follow me on Twitter, I did a trivia question about which quarterback did not fall in the top 12. And my choices, if I remember correctly, were Justin Fields, Aaron Rodgers, Kyler Murray, and Lamar Jackson. And a lot of folks did not pick Lamar Jackson, but Lamar Jackson was the correct answer. He was not top 12. He was 13th. Kyler was 12th, Rodgers was 11th, and Fields was 10th. Actually, no, wait. Yes, that is correct. That is right. Because Mahomes and Carr both made it into the top. But before the Monday night game is when I put the trivia question out there for folks. But Carson Wentz is 6 in fantasy. 6 last week. And he's 10th overall in fantasy. I still think Wentz is capable. I mean, you got to deal with the ups and downs. But when you look at Carson Wentz, look at the points. Yeah, I mean, he had 2 rough weeks, but I mean, dude's still 10th. I mean, I can't be mad at 10th. You just got to deal with the ebbs and flows of it all. I mean, but, we got to keep an eye on the questionable marking. What other quarterbacks were available, Christian? Yeah, not a bad thing to have. I still don't think you need to. I'll be honest, man. I still don't think you need to keep 2 quarterbacks. I only need one for a bye week. My opinion on that matter. So yeah, so when you talk about the quarterbacks, these were the guys that were ranked up. Geno Smith is in the top 5. Kirk Cousins was in the top 5 this week. Carson Wentz was 6. Brady 7. Jimmy G was 8th. Right. So Derek Carr made the top 10. Marcus Mariota made the top 10. So yeah, man, you got some pretty damn good quarterbacks here that made it, and there's some guys that weren't drafted that's in the top 5 this week. But now let's look at for the total season. All right, there's no buys yet, so starting next week, I'm going to go off average. But for now, we're going to do fantasy points, and when you look at the fantasy points, Geno Smith is 6 in fantasy. Jared Goff is 9th, even after the bad game that he had. And he's on bye this week, so you're going to have to replace him this week anyway. Even after a 6-point game, he's still the 9th best quarterback in fantasy. And Carson Wentz is still 10th. Derek Carr's on bye as well this week. So so when you start looking at options of who you can take for a quarterback that might be available on your wire, Daniel Jones. Baltimore's defense isn't that good, guys. So if you need a flyer for a quarterback this week, don't hesitate to take Daniel Jones. Marcus Mariota is available in some leagues, but he has a very tough defense in front of him. Tua might be out. If you really are desperate, maybe you can go after the 3rd-string quarterback in Miami, because I don't think Bridgewater's going to be able to play this week. But he might be able to play. We'll see. But, they're going to keep an eye on Miami from a concussion protocol standpoint. Justin Fields might be available in some leagues. These are the type of flyers that you got to roll with. He had a good game last week. These are the options that you got. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at a 10 to 15 point day for your quarterback. So pick your poison there. Kenneth Walker is the top waiver wire ad for me by far. Yep. I'm trying to get Walker in every league I can. The Ravens defense isn't that good. Their defense ain't that good, man. I mean, let's pull up a 12-team league real quick. And this league right here is quarterback heavy. So let's see who's available. And a lot of the teams here don't agree, but you're talking a 2 QB type of a lot of them got 2 quarterbacks. So when you look at the available quarterbacks right now, Wentz, Cousins, Brissett, Jones. I mean, if Wentz is there, I'll take a flyer on them against Chicago. Kirk Cousins is going to go up against a good Miami defense, but I would take a flyer on him if he's available. But when you talk matchups, I mean, Daniel Jones probably got a pretty damn good matchup compared to everybody else, and he runs the football. That helps. Mariota against San Fran, I can't touch that. I'm not touching Matt Ryan against Jacksonville. Jimmy Garoppolo against Atlanta is okay. I don't think I want to touch that either. Dak Prescott might play this week, so if that's the case, Dak might be available in your league, so go grab him if he is. Otherwise, but once again, Philadelphia's going to be a tough one. Justin Fields against Washington's intriguing if you really need the help. But, I mean, so you got to look at what your options are. Ravens defense tighten up, huh? Really? Hold on. Let's see about that. Ravens defense have tightened up. At least that's what they've told me. All right, let's see. Let's filter all. Ravens. Am I blind today? Am I tripping? Alphabetical order, please. There we go. All right. Ravens defense. Okay. Josh Allen balled on them. If I remember, I think Mac Jones did okay against them. I don't know. Miami, we know Tua did fine with them. And Joe Flacco did fine with them. Cincinnati did okay with them. Joe Burrow did okay with them last week as well. So, I'm good. I'm fine with Daniel Jones next week against the Ravens. Let me check. Let me see here. Joe Burrow. How many points did Joe Burrow get last week? Joe Burrow got 23 fantasy points last week against the Ravens. I think I'm fine. I'm willing to take that risk with Daniel Jones. But my point is that the Ravens defense isn't that good. It's not as good as you think it is. They might get a couple sacks, they might get a pick, but from the standpoint of how much yards they give up a lot of yards. They haven't tightened up. Joe Burrow got 23 points against them. Give you a kicker ad. I mean, are kickers that damn serious? Okay, let's see. Kicker ad. You want a kicker ad? I'll give you a kicker ad. Graham Gano. Matter of fact, just do this. Odds are there's somebody in the top 10 sitting in the waiver wire because everybody's dependent on certain kickers. Personally, I would go after Fairbairn after this week. So I would grab a kicker for this week and do after Fairbairn and get Kai Fairbairn to be done with it. He's the sixth best kicker in the fantasy. So, pretty consistent. I mean, you got Graham Gano over here. Kickers. That's why, kickers are so random. Or you can go get Carolina kicker. Carolina kicker top 10. You know what I'm saying? So you got options. There's always a top 10 kicker available in the wire. Always. I wouldn't even worry about that. Let's pick one. Because I don't think anybody can guess who the number one kicker in fantasy is. What do you guys think? Who do you guys think is the number one kicker in fantasy? You'd be surprised. Stafford against us? I wouldn't do that. Not the way he's been playing. He ain't been playing that well. It's about how many yards you give up, dude. A lot of their quarterbacks is giving up a lot of points to quarterback. I mean, they've been giving up a lot to quarterbacks. Carlson. So you think it's the Raiders kicker? Okay, let's see. Number one kicker in fantasy it is Carlson. It's not Tucker. But look, notice the second, the fourth, he's on bye, so that's expected. The 6th, the 9th, and the 10th best kicker in fantasy are sitting on waivers. Meanwhile, we got folks playing the 12th best kicker, the 15th best kicker, the 16th best kicker, the 18th best kicker, even the Rams kicker. You should definitely replace him. He's 20th. So, kickers are very random. Kind of hard to gauge that from that standpoint. All right, this is half point PPR, so let me change this. All right. No, Daniel Carson is the correct answer. The Raiders kicker. All right, so let's talk about some opportunities here. About who you should go after in the bye weeks. I mean, if you guys really want to go after Matthew Stafford in Carolina, that's fine. He's underwhelmed. I mean, he's 26 in fantasy. Don't know if I want to go that route, but that's your prerogative. I think I would rather have Fields. But then again, like I said, it's against Washington. I think I'd rather have Fields against Washington than Stafford against Carolina. I mean, or Daniel Jones. I'd rather have Daniel Jones than Matthew Stafford. Do not touch Brissett. I don't, and everybody else you can't mess with. I mean, if you really want to go for a shot in the dark, since a lot of y'all Panthers fans are so hype on PJ Walker, y'all can do that. I wouldn't, but that's on you. That's on you, sir. But when you start looking at these scoring leaders, man, you got options out here in these streets. You got options. Yeah, Tua is about to get dropped. In this league, at least. But I got options. But, quarterback-wise, your best bet is probably Daniel Jones, likely available everywhere. Some folks might have panicked on Wentz the last 2 weeks prior to this game. He might be available in some leagues. I think if he is, that's the guy you need to go after. So you got options there at running back. The obvious available guy that you have to go after is my guy, Kenneth Walker, if he's available in your league. And my luck, he's probably not available here, right? Nope, somebody picked him up in this league, but he's available in a lot of leagues. That's the guy you want to go after. It's Kenneth Walker. Let's look at the rankings for the running back position. Who's number one? Eckler, Chubb, Barkley, Jacobs. Look at Christian McCaffrey out here living his best life. Henry's out, man. Good luck, guys. I mean, hopefully you have somebody that you can probably pull in. Pierce, Jamal Williams, you can trade Jamal at this rate. Now, if you want to talk about somebody that you should be trading for, Pierce, I would try to trade for Pierce. I would try to trade for Breece Hall. I would try to trade, I think Eckler, Chubb, Barkley, Jacobs is going to cost you, and McCaffrey, they're going to cost you too much. So you can look down here. Maybe somebody's willing to trade Hall, Pierce. Those are guys you need to try to trade for. Stevenson, you can get Ramondre Stevenson. That ain't a bad idea. Monitor the Jeff Wilson situation, man. I'm thinking because we saw a lot of Tevin Coleman because they were dominating Carolina. So just make sure that's all that was, right? But yeah, so maybe you can try to see if somebody be willing to trade Swift this week, especially if they're having bye week issues. Najee ain't, you ain't gonna get much for Najee, man. I might play him in DFS. I'll tell you that. I might play PJ in DFS. I'm debating it right now. I never know, man. Because I know he's probably cheap. He's probably $5,000 if that. So then I could do stars and scrubs. So I mean, I just need, if PJ's $5,000, I just need him to get 15 points, and if he gets more than that, bonus. Good shot. He's got a good shot to be RB2. He got a shot to fall into the top 25. All right. Pause. Yeah, you're right, Slim. Sorry about that. Yeah, so, I will say this, though. When you start having that discussion point about, God, Najee has been underwhelming. He might have been he's probably the biggest bust considering how high you had to go get him because he was a first-round pick in the middle of the first round, I'm not liking the lack of the trend that I'm seeing with Mr. Dillon. I'm not ready to drop him yet, but I am ready to put him on the bench. You can't play him at this point. He only has 6 touches. He didn't get any targets. You can't play him at this point, even though he was efficient. You can't play him at this point if he's going to get less than 10 touches. Can't do it. Keep an eye on Mike Boone with the Melvin Gordon situation. Mike Boone's probably still available in a lot of leagues, believe it or not. With regards to who to drop, if you're a risky type of guy, maybe you can risk dropping the handcuff if it's just for a 1-week thing and then get your handcuff back, but you got to hope and pray that the handcuff doesn't get hurt. I mean, that the starting running back doesn't get hurt. Then you're probably not going to get it. Yeah, Dylan's handcuff status now. He's close to it. I would keep him for now, but I want to see what his usage looks like next week. Then we will reassess. If the usage is similar, this was the best option for you at that point is to trade him to the Aaron Jones player. I'm not disagreeing with you there. As for wide receivers. Wide receivers. I think this is a time that you can trade away Marquis Brown. I think it's time to start thinking about how we're going to get one of these Seattle wide receivers. If you're going to try to get one, I would try to get Lockett. Might cost you a little bit, but might be worth the risk because I like these targets, sir. So, yep. Lock is an option here. If you could trade for St. Brown, I would try, but I think that's going to cost you a lot. Sutton, same thing, even with how bad. Well, you can go either way. If you're worried about Russell Wilson, you could trade Sutton away and see if you get something just to swap him out, or if you need wide receiver 2 help. I mean, Sutton is a good option. The usual suspects are near the top. Devontae Adams is going to fall a bit, especially if he gets suspended after the bye. So just monitor that situation. Marquis Brown, yeah, he's going to fall off the map once DeAndre Hopkins called. Well, he's going to fall a bit. Like right now, he's playing like a wide receiver 1. But once DeAndre Hopkins comes back, he'll probably fall down to a low-end wide receiver 2 flex. Still startable, but not as, he ain't going to be giving you wide receiver 1 numbers anymore. Waddle and Hill might take a hit because of the quarterback situation, but they might be okay at the same time. Still can't bench him right now. Curtis Samuel. He's still doing his thing. The lowest amount of targets he's had in the game was 7. You start him every week. He's getting enough target share. Somebody I wouldn't mind trading for either, by the way. Duvernay, not really getting that many targets. Target share went up this week, but he's also carrying the ball. I kind of like that. Now we need to talk about Gabe Davis. That big game, well, he missed the game too because of injury, but that big game he had, he's still 28th, right? The thing you guys need to consider about Gabe Davis, 6 targets is the most targets he's had. And there was a lot of injuries at the wide receiver position, and that man only got 6 targets. So I understand people are willing to take the risk with regards to that. And when you look at his percentages of catch ratio, it's not that good. If you're fine with having a game where he only gets 3 targets and only gets 1 catch, then go ahead, man. But, I don't think I can put him higher than a flex. Even then, that's tough. You can't always bank on having 2 big, long touchdown plays. You can't bank on that. And it's going to change once the wide receivers get healthy. He's not going to get as much target share. I think if I was a Gabe Davis owner, I would try to move him now. This would be the time. Try to move him now. Oh, yeah, I'm trading Gabe. It's funny that you say that. I'm trading Wade. Yeah, I'm trading Gabe. I'm not holding Gabe. He hasn't had more than 6 targets in a game. He's boom or bust. If I could trade Gabe, if I can trade Gabe to get like a Damien Pierce, a Breece Hall, a more consistent wide receiver, like for example, if I could do a swap for Sutton, I would do it. Because Sutton is getting consistent targets. 7, 11, 10, 7, 11. I'd rather have numbers like this than have numbers like this. 0 points withstanding, right? But 18, 6, 2, 32. I don't want boom or bust. I'd rather have something that's slow and steady. I know something with a better floor is the best way to put it. I'd rather have players with better floors. You know what I'm saying? And this man only has 1 TD and he's eating. The TDs would be the icing on the cake. And the one time when he had a rough day, he got a TD to salvage it. So that's what I'm looking for. I'd rather have that. That's my opinion on it. Sure. You start him I wouldn't put him no higher than the flex still, even against Kansas City, because of the target share. And if the wide receivers are healthy, that's going to impact him. That's a problem. JT. Tell me who JT is. If Damien Pierce is available in your league, you got to take a flyer on him. Are you talking about the wide receiver Pierce from Indy? If you're talking about Pierce from Indy, yeah, I would take a flyer on him. Let's look at Mr. Pierce here. I like Pierce. That's what you're probably talking about. I would absolutely take a flyer on this guy because he's getting the targets. Can't be mad with the targets. So, absolutely, I would take a flyer on him. In a PPR league specifically. Should I trade Jonathan? Hell no. No. Nope. Absolutely not. I would not trade Jonathan Taylor for Aaron Jones. Not I. I would do this. I would do that. Let me pull up Devontae Smith real quick. Yeah, I would do that. I believe he's gotten at least 8 targets in every game he's played in, if I remember correctly, since week 1. He's got at least, one. He got the Jacksonville game, which was tough, but 7, 12, 11. So he's getting a decent chunk of target share. Can't be mad at that. Low end wide receiver 2. Can't be mad at that. Yeah, I mean, that's the way you can look at it. I mean, you gotta play Gabe this week because of Kansas City. But don't be shocked that man only gets like 4 targets and only gets 2 catches for like 30 yards. I mean, are you okay with having a guy that can either get you 30 or 5? I mean, because that is boom or bust. Gabe Davis is a boom or bust guy. He probably could win you a league, but he can also get you knocked out in the first round if he decides to have one of those 3-point fantasy days. So, I'm pro floor. Like, I've always felt like if I can consistently get a certain amount of points, I'm going to probably win most weeks. Home run hitters are important, but yeah, that's the theory. The theory is that should be a shootout. But we'll see. Buffalo actually have a pretty damn good defense, man. So we'll see. I'll say this. Patrick Mahomes can't afford to start slow next week. The Chiefs can't afford to start slow next week. All right, tight ends. Let's get to tight ends. Hockenson only got 1 catch last week. 1 catch. 4 targets, 1 catch. Still 3rd in fantasy, but he has a bye this week. So then the question becomes, well, who do you go after? If Mr. Hill's available, kind of got to go after him, right? Kind of. It's funny. By the way, it's hilarious to me. He's 7th. He didn't even play 1 game. But he had a big game against Seattle. Got 9 carries, 112 yards, 3 TDs. Can't depend on that, obviously. But tight ends are a wasteland. We talk about it every year, about how tight ends are a wasteland. But if Hill's available, I have no problem. If you got Hockenson and Hill's available, I have no problem you going after Hill. Disley is probably your best option that's available right now, most likely in a lot of leagues. Evan Ingram, if he's available, I will go after him. But it's a wasteland, man. And I'm going to be honest. I'm leaning towards not like I'll give you an example. So here's my team. Let's say I had Hockenson and Hockenson was on bye. Hypothetical. I obviously wouldn't drop Hockenson, but my only decision making of who I should drop would and let's say I had another roster spot here. The only person that I would drop would probably be my handcuff for McCaffrey and just try to and pull him back later. Pull him back after the week's over. Because you could probably drop Pacheco and get him back later. And since 2 of my guys on IR, they're not going to probably let me pick somebody up, so I got to figure that out too. So there's options with regards to that. No way I can't drop Hockenson. I'm going to show you why I can't drop Hockenson. Let me show you why I can't drop Hockenson. 2022 season. This is why I can't drop Hockenson. He's top 5 in targets at the position. I can't drop Hockenson. I can't drop Hockenson. But, Irv Smith, Evan Ingram, those are just some guys you could probably go after too. It's fine. I'm happy Sheltron. I ain't heard Sheltron in, but I know he said he was going to be going there now for a while. So shout out to Sheltron. If you need a tight end, he's available. I'll trust him. I mean, tight end is such a wasteland, man. You don't know what you're going to get. There's probably, like, I'll give you an example. I wouldn't be shocked if, let me see. I want to be hot takey today. I wouldn't be shocked if Kyle Granderson would end up being in the top 15 of tight ends next week. Kyle Granderson. Or somebody like Cameron Brate. He might be out this week, but or Isaiah Likely. Or Mo Ali Cox. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if these guys right now they fall to the top 10 next week because tight ends are so random. So, you can't. I mean, we only, if all goes well, you only need to do this for 1 week. So just keep that in mind. As for flexible defenses, who's available? Oh yeah, I want to show y'all this first before we do that. Here are your top defenses in fantasy football. Anybody drafted the Jaguars? I know Slim didn't. What about the Jets? They're 9th. Nobody's picked them up. Nobody drafted them. But I bet you a lot of folks drafted the Ravens. At least Slim did it in the 13th round. Props to you, sir. A lot of folks probably drafted the Bengals, too. Yep, another one. Can't be mad at that. But let's look at somebody that was probably drafted above the end of the round, the end of the draft. Oh, nobody drafted Rams defense. That is interesting. Props to you. But I know somebody probably drafted the Steelers because everybody drafts the Steelers, right? All right, props to you. 16th round. Y'all did actually pretty good. I gotta give y'all credit. What about Chargers? 16th round. All right, good. Looks like you guys are listening to me. That's great. Cleveland. 16th round. Good. Y'all listening to me. That's good. Props. Y'all listening to me. What about Saints? A little too high for my taste. 13th round, but can't be mad at that too much. But most folks took Bills first. All right, that's typically the one. And I know my boy Marcus took him in the 10th. What about Eagles? Anybody draft the Eagles defense? Nope. Near the bottom. Where are you supposed to draft them? Pretty good value compared to getting somebody in the 10th. Only an 8-point difference between the two. But when you look at the points of the defense versus the Patriots, which is a 20-point delta, 22-point delta, you're only talking about a 3 to 4 point difference between first and 8th. And then once you get the Panthers is ranked pretty. Panthers ranked 13th. So, yeah. Defense ain't really scoring that many points this year either. But okay, we'll go do some questions. This week I will probably roll with Eagles going up against Cooper Rush. Yo, man, I don't know, but you know how I felt about Darren Waller. I wasn't that high on him. You guys know how I felt about Mr. Waller. All right, let's see here. Any other things that we need to think about from that standpoint? If you need a defense this week, grr, these ain't good options. I can tell you that. You probably could do Colts against Jacksonville. Depending on how you feel about Wentz, probably could do Bears versus Washington, but that's a riskier one. If you believe in the Jets, go with the Jets, but I don't know if I would do that against Green Bay. Ravens, even though I'm a fan of Daniel Jones, Ravens will probably get you enough points to be effective. They'll probably sack him a couple of times, maybe throw a pick. But Daniel Jones is still going to get his. I mean, both things can still be true. Work, man. Work has been a slog for the past the past year and a half. Home straight, though. Can't complain about the home. Never thought this question would ever be asked in fantasy football, but, I would have to say yes. Geno is a startable guy. He's top 6 in fantasy and quarterback. What a turnaround for Geno Smith. I'm happy for him, man. I really am. One thing I didn't talk about, since, somebody's asking me questions about Steve Wilkes and all that, and Twitter's been kind of on fire. Let's talk about the viability of the Panthers now with Wilkes at the helm. All right. So we had a discussion points last week regarding about certain players. Christian McCaffrey, start him every week. You ain't got to worry about him. Steve Wilkes wants to run the football, and Christian McCaffrey is going to be part of that. Wilkes came from the Rivera tree, so we know that he's going to run McCaffrey to the ground. So we'll see how that goes. I prefer Lockett, but I would probably do this too. Like if I want a Seattle wide receiver, if I could trade Gabe Davis to get Tyler Lockett or DK Metcalf, I would do it, but I would prefer Tyler Lockett because Lockett's getting more target share, in my opinion. Well, no, the data shows that he is. So, yes, I would prefer Lockett. Let me pull that up real fast. Uh-oh. That was weird. Yeah, let's see. Seattle. I would prefer Lockett. That's his target share. Really good hands. Gets a lot of underneath opportunities. They tend to sling it to Metcalf. But he's getting targets too. I would prefer either way. Pick your poison. They're both getting targets. It's like Geno Smith's only throwing to those two guys. I had them both on the bench this week. I was very angry about that. But back to the Panthers. So let's look at some of the let's change this to Carolina real quick. Let's go over some of these players. We'll start at the quarterback position. No. Did we sign Cam Newton? That's it. That's funny that they have him as Carolina. But yeah, no. I think that's hilarious, by the way. Doubtful. PJ Walker is going to be your guy. And they're probably going to have to add Jacob Eason soon. I think they're going to probably activate Eason. PJ Walker, no. When Baker comes back or Darnold comes back, no. Running back. Christian McCaffrey's your guy. I wouldn't be too worried about his workload. I think this helps. I think this helps him more than hurt him with Wilkes being the head coach now. But dude, he's out here putting in his work, and he ain't getting the last two games. But he got touchdowns each of those games. Been pretty efficient. I mean, with less touches than less than his normal workload. I mean, this is about the sweet spot where they want to go with regards to him. Fifth in fantasy, guys. I think he's so far, if you took him number 2 overall, so far I think he's exceeded your expectations because you took a risk knowing about his injury history. But let's get the wide receivers here. Shi Smith getting 18 targets. I have a feeling with my guy, Mr. Wilkes at the helm at head coach, I have a feeling that DJ Moore's finally going to get more targets. He's going to get a bigger target share than he already has. But I still wouldn't start him. I think I'm still in a wait-and-see approach with DJ Moore from that aspect. So with that being said, I wouldn't. I mean, if you think you can buy low on him, I would. But that's fine. See, yeah. I still wouldn't play tight ends. Uh, yeah. Let's look at this. Let's look at the targets right here. Dog. I don't know why Ian Thomas has more targets than Tommy Trumbull. We understand why Terrace Marshall got less targets because he wasn't activating a lot. But DJ Moore's yards here is very, very concerning. He's Robbie Anderson's got more yards than him. But DJ Moore's on pace to get his 4 TDs like he has been getting. Only four receiving touchdowns, man. That is so awful. Wow, I just realized something. Only 6 TDs total. Oh, terrible. Such a terrible offense. Terrible. Oh, well, you shouldn't be starting DJ anyway. We got to see what the offense is going to look like. I mean, last year, when PJ Walker started, I would have played DJ Moore. And don't forget, man, I do a live stream Sunday mornings, 11:15. I'm on. Yeah, we talked about it yesterday 3 times. We went live 3 times yesterday. I mean, I'm kind of looking forward to see how Steve Wilkes do with Carolina. I think the offense is going to look a little bit better this week against the Rams. So we'll see how it goes. With that being said, man, it is almost 8:30. I'll probably stay on till about 8:30. I got a couple of things I got to get done tonight before I get some rest. So I'm probably gonna hop on a Twitter Spaces about HBCUs, and then while I'm doing that, I'm gonna start. I got a couple of things I got to get done. Any news? So I'll answer some Panther team questions unless I got fantasy questions until 8:30. Then I'm gonna shut this thing down. Any news of Sam? It doesn't look like Sam's ready either. So it looks like PJ Walker's going to be the starter. They're going to probably have to activate Eason, and they might sign a quarterback. There are some people that think, I know Rashad hates when I say this, but I guess if Wilkes calls Cam will probably answer that call. So we'll see what happens with that because he loves Steve Wilkes. Him and Steve Wilkes are tight. So for him, he might be willing to make the move. But I don't think it's wise for Cam to do it because of previous comments. But you never know, because I think if Cam is there, he'll probably start. If I was a betting person, he'll probably start if Cam ends up getting signed between now and tomorrow. But it has to happen soon. And I haven't heard any rumblings of that actually happening. I don't even think they've made the phone call. But yeah. I'm kind of happy about Wilkes. I'm looking forward to see what he does with regards to that. So yeah, man. I'm very optimistic about Wilkes. I just don't know, it's a tough situation to walk into, but I'm very optimistic about Wilkes from that standpoint. Very optimistic about Wilkes. Yeah, I'm pulling for him too, man. I want him to pull it off. Yeah, I heard there was some. I guess there were some players that weren't too mad about the firing. So we'll probably get more details about that later. Why do you have Ertz? Trade Ertz. Try to trade. You know what I would do if I was you? Trade Ertz after the bye. Trade Ertz after the bye. That's what I would do. No. Unless you're desperate. Yes. Yeah, I do. All right. All right. With 5 minutes to go, I'm gonna call it a day. I'm gonna call it a day because I'm getting beat too. Make sure you like, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. Keep pounding, guys. Have some faith. And on that note, I'm out. Peace.